on a reasonable price basis, certainly not comparable to other areas of comparable size throughout the province. I can just guess at a few or make a couple of instances here. A 3-bedroom apartment in the city can run about close to $160 a month in Nelson, whereas the same thing would probably be $125 or $130 in some other city. Now, people aren't going to move out of their houses and into a 3-bedroom family apartment and pay $160 a month just for the rent.
And they'd have many more amenities in the other locations, such as a swimming pool and so on and so forth.
Yes, that's right.
It's a real problem as far as the city is concerned.
I understand also that there has been a high-rise apartment suggested for this area, and that the financiers, Central Mortgage and Housing, are not going to put up the money for it because apparently there's no market for it.
I'm not familiar with this. I couldn't make a statement.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard something about it, but I don't have enough knowledge to make any comment. I know that we need one.
Yes.
Question of where we're going to get one, that's the point.
Well, I would think that to the people who have the money, in this case CM&H as far as I know, that the need would be obvious, but it doesn't seem to be somehow. Anyway, let's go back to questions. Here's another true or false question. Housing as it is now, as it now stands, will soon be priced out of the reach of an average waged Canadian family, which is what we've been talking about. And it looks as though it's going that way.
I wouldn't agree,
Not
because what is happening actually is that they're asking for a low down payment, and then your end price is inflated.
Yes, that's true.
And your high interest rate applies.
Okay. Now, here we are. What are you, as an appointed member of the Court of Revision, doing to help bring the rising costs of home ownership to a level where the average family can afford them? Do you have anything at all to do with anything like that?
I wouldn't care to answer the question because it's not my problem.
No.
And I won't be here next year, I can tell you that.
I see.
We'll need some other volunteers. We are only charged with the particular assessment role in the appeals. And any comment that I make must be confined to that, because I have no authority beyond the Act.
No. Okay. Now here's a question that pretty well calls for a personal opinion, but an educated opinion. What pressures, if any, would it take to make the government step in and make housing in Canada a decent thing instead of, well, I will go on, but it doesn't talk very nicely about housing currently.
What we're concerned with, and I think this doesn't only apply to housing, it concerns us generally, and this is an apathy on the part of the general public that they will complain when they themselves are affected. But I think we've got to go back to John F. Kennedy and say, what can I do for my country? Not what can my country do for me? And in this case, Ratepayers Association, well attended and meeting regularly, could discuss many of these things and make representations to the provincial government, to the city, and to the federal government to correct a lot of things which are wrong.
I think that would probably be the best course of action for them to take. Obviously, there are a lot of dissatisfied people as far as assessments are concerned, and with taxes, because if you had a mill rate of 1 and your assessments were high, you weren't going to care anyway. But if they form associations, a ratepayers association would be a very good one, as you've mentioned.
If I could cry a little bit here.
Sure, go right ahead.
These people that are on this court of revision, particularly those who are employed, are on there for no other reason that they are performing a public duty. They don't have all the knowledge. They're doing a sort of a rough justice deal. And anyone has the privilege of attending the particular court and seeing the proceedings. And a lot of people, I think, who are asking these questions possibly have not been there. We could certainly hear if there were 500 appeals, this would have an effect. But we can only do the best we can within the time that we're allotted.
Yes, well...
Quit crying now.
I'll go along with you on one thing, very definitely, and that it's not an easy job. Thank you very much for your time this afternoon, Mr. McAdams. It's been very interesting talking to you, and I think that, excuse me, we've got around to answering most of the questions, which have either been phoned in or written in. Now, is there any course of action whatsoever for people who may not have been able to get their questions to us today or ask them of you?
There might be tomorrow. We'll be working through till after midnight.
I see.
To authenticate this roll. But I don't mind, personally, if you would restrict it to about half an hour, answering any questions that someone would like to ask after they've heard what has transpired today.
Well, that's very kind of you indeed. Well, we'll see what happens then.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Right.
Bye-bye now. We've been talking with Mr. A.K. McAdams, the chairman of the Court of Revision, and we hope that your questions have been answered this afternoon and that you have been enlightened by our discussion with Mr. McAdams. It's 17 minutes past 2 o'clock and 17 minutes overdue. The news.